So how's your summer? First summer?
Summer has been busy. It's been good. It really has. And we started to move in to our home last weekend, and the movers come into Florida this week and bring the rest of it. And we're getting acclimated. My son's getting acclimated to summer school and baseball training right now. And I feel good. So just came off a trip, went to Las Vegas the last couple days to see the Summer League. And not only to see Yante Mayton, but also to see a lot of our Indiana guys. So that was a boost. That was something that's always great to see, and you come back with that level of insight and energy that you need to bring to your team, because that's where they all want to go. And the competition level just raises. It doesn't matter if it's Summer League and the desert heat or the air-conditioned Thomas and Mack Center. I mean, it's at another level, and it just keeps giving you a vision of, like every other day here, like where can we go with this? You know, where can we take it? What can we do? What can we do to get better right now? What can they do on their own? And how can we keep getting the vision across of the way we want to play, so that they really form an identity on what that's going to take? And right now, it's the work ethic. It's the workouts that we have, which we're going to have another one here pretty quick. And it's the training that they're doing. It's the camaraderie and togetherness that they're building. And it's a day-by-day process, so it's the same thing for me getting adjusted to athletes.
Not sure how long ago I saw this picture, but did I see you giving a guest lecture in a class or speaking?
That was the other day, yeah. I actually gave a guest lecture online, sitting right in my office. That was pretty cool.
So, what was that like, number one? And number two, why has it been such a priority to kind of be everywhere and be so out in the community talking about Bulldog basketball?
Well, I think it just seems like I'm everywhere because of social media, right? I'm in here the majority of the time. And planning things out, or watching film, or we're with our players. But I like to be out. I mean, I like to be outside first and foremost, but I like to be out and around people, and I think it's so important, without a doubt. You never take anything for granted, right? When it comes to what your attendance is going to be like, or your base, or how people are feeling. Number two, which is really more important than that, you know, I learned something, or I have energy, I want to share it with people. But number three, it's a great way to get your message across and have people get to know you, not just as the basketball coach, or not just as this person that just moved here, but somebody that, you know, has some ideas, thoughts, opinions, has a family, but also at the same time needs every person possible to help us build this to where we want to take it. When it comes to that support, when it comes to people feeling connected to it, and eventually connection hopefully turns into ownership.
Coach, you spoke a little bit about this at the SEC teleconference, but looking at the midpoint of the season, adjusting to your team, and them learning about you through the off-season workouts, when you look at where you are now as opposed to from the beginning, what have you seen?
A lot of togetherness, right? A lot of helping each other through the work. Not necessarily totally when they're all dead tired, and that's another step that we've got to take, but we're working towards it. And I think picking up what we're trying to do, you know, definitely the spacing, the footwork, the techniques. We're adding things every week. I told them if we're not adding things that are harder, then we're not getting better. And along the way, trying to increase the competition level. But I mean, it's truly, put it this way, there's progress within the process, if that makes any sense. But I mean, again, we're not playing against anybody either. You know, we're playing against ourselves. And the one thing we've got to do more of, and we do more of it here today, is we've got to go against each other more. We've got to have more, not only time and score situations, but time and score competitive going against each other. Probably more one-on-one. We've got to get more 3-on-3, more 4-on-4, more 4-on-5, or 5-on-5. But again, we just got to have this like huge commitment to like really getting better with the fundamentals and what our fundamentals are. You know, really, fundamentals are fundamentals, but there's certain things in the way that we want to play that we want to make sure we're getting that down. And I think when you get into this stretch of the summer, it's really important that they feel like they're getting better. You get a lot of things accomplished so that you can really review it, add to it, refine it once they get back in August, because they come back so early, you know, which is unique here. I mean, we come back early, and we start school August 13th. So I've got that kind of in mind too, but we're down to our last 3 weeks of work here this summer. They'll have a little break, and then we'll get right back at it when they get back.
Whose idea was it for the belt?
I'm sorry?
Whose idea was it for the belt?
That's Sean Hayes' idea. I've been a part of some of those things in the past, so I was certainly aware of how, what kind of attachment they can get to that and how important it is to win it, and the pride and the sense of accomplishment that comes from that. But that was Sean Hayes' idea, and he showed me the design. I liked it, he got it done, and it's something that he really is the one that's probably spearheads his view of it. You know, we're in there, and the coaches are in there every day, and I'm in there when I can be, and we're around the workouts and the training, but it's really his idea, and he's really building it not only on who had the best week themselves, but most importantly, who's helping others the best. You know, who's not only pushing themselves to a very high level, but through the fatigue, through the frustration that comes, through the adversity that comes, are they really helping their teammates, especially the young guys? And I think that's been a real good point, because again, the biggest thing for us, the whole mantra of the summer is learning start fast, finish strong. What does that mean? It means everything you do, we want to get off to a really good start with it. All right, we want to build up that endurance and that level of commitment and toughness that it takes to finish something, but you can't lose sight of how important it is in the middle, right? And I think Sean's doing a really good job, our entire staff's doing a really good job of every time we see somebody start to drop, to teeter-totter a little bit, they pull them right back in. Well, eventually when the team is doing that, now you really have a chance to go somewhere. And I think that's got Dog of the Week written all over it as much as anything else. Who's pulling people through the hard times when it's not convenient?
What's your sense of the chemistry, the dynamics of the coaching staff as you've worked with them now for a couple of
Oh, very good. Very good. I mean, I had to speak earlier, and I just walk in, all three of them are sitting in an office, going over different recruiting. They communicate well. I think it certainly helps that Amir and Chad knew each other before, but Joe is a head coach. I mean, Joe is fantastic. He was a very successful assistant, very successful head coach, so he knows how to wear all of those roles. Jake Thielen has jumped in and done a fantastic job with that. We did lose Matt Buckland. I don't know if that's been out there or not. Matt is going to Clemson. I believe his position is going to be director of operations. So his last day was last week. It's a move up for him. In his eyes, you know, a chance to advance a role. You never like to lose good people, and you never like the timing of it, especially when you're going into the summer of recruiting. But he did a fantastic job. And the 3 plus months that we got with him here at Georgia just goes to show absolutely how much he loves Georgia and how committed he is to having this be successful. So anytime your people feel like they can advance, and again, I'd known him since he was a kid. I didn't know him as an adult, obviously, until we've been here. But we wish him the best, and he did a fantastic job. But with that being said, when you got somebody that's got that kind of ability, that kind of institutional knowledge, those kind of relationships, it forces everybody up a little bit quicker. But he did a really good job of helping us transition into that.
As a guy who was already around for a few years before you got here, what kind of asset just for you has Sean Hayes been with those relationships and everything that he already had with the players?
Well, I think Sean's really good. I think they have a lot of respect for him. I think other coaches and his peers here have respect for him, but it's only going to work if we're on the same page. And I'm pretty comfortable with the page we've been on in the past of how we do things, and I think he's done a really good job of that. Like we communicate a lot, which is really, really important. And because again, I knew of him, but I'm evaluating every day where we're at based on where I think we need to be moving forward, and every time I bring something up, we have a good conversation about it. It's been fantastic. He listens. He wants to get better. We're trying to do things. We all want to get better, right? I go to Las Vegas to see former players and support them, but at the same time, I'm coming out of there with pages and notes. We all want to get better, and I think he's the same way. So we're trying to take some of those steps, but I think he's a great example of everybody that touches any part of your program have to be on the same page. All right, don't have to speak the same, but it's got, and it may not come out of the mouth the same way, but it's got to be the same message, and you've got to keep getting that across. And that's been fun for me. That's been energizing for me because I'm with so many people that I haven't worked with before. But you have a flexibility. I have a flexibility of listening, learning, paying attention, but at the same time having a real strong idea on what we feel works. And you keep trying to work to get it together, and all of a sudden you got a program, and that's what we're working towards, and he's been a huge part of that.
Speaking specifically to player development, seeing Nick Claxton compete for U.S. Virgin Islands team in FIBA World Championships, when he's come back, what have you seen in the jump in his progression?
I'm not going to say I've seen a jump. I think he went over there and did a good job with that. The jump, you know, when you give up somebody like that to somebody else, you're giving up your teaching. It would be so different if we were a couple of years in together, but every time we're learning something new, they're all learning something new. So it's just a matter, he did a good job of coming and jumping back in, but our progression, I mean, I'm happy that he got a chance to do that, and that worked out well, and I think those experiences of going against the good players that he went against will help him down the line. But right now, it's so much now about, okay, let's make sure we're indoctrinated in what we've got to do to get better. But anytime a player can get an experience of going against strong level of competition, it's important, and I've had that work both ways in the past. I've had some guys that went and they played, and the practice situations weren't that good for them. I've had some that they totally had to go and compete, and they almost go into a survival mode. Those are the best. And then there's things that are in between, and I think that'll remain to be seen as we continue to work with Nick through this. But he's done very good, very, very good at picking things up, wanting to get better, understanding that there's a lot of room for improvement. But he really has no choice, because every one of them have got to get significantly better. And that's part of developing your foundation and developing an identity.
How was Ty Fagan look early on?
Very good, very good. I think all three freshmen have been fantastic. JoJo got banged up a little bit the other day, so he's been out a few days with the basketball. But Amanzi, JoJo, and Ty, they got better in the spring. And we recruited Ty through the spring, so we had a chance to see that a little bit more. But JoJo had some things that just a couple of things that we gave him when we first met him, and Amanzi had a couple of things that we gave him when we first met him. And those guys did a very good job of that before they got here. So I think we have very good patience with them. You know, I always tell them, do you want to be coached like a freshman or do you want to be coached like a player? And that always gets their attention, because right away they want to be coached like a player. But at the end of the day, I've got to remember, the coaches got to remember, they are freshmen. They are learning different things. But when it comes to picking things up, competing, trying to have a voice, not being afraid, definitely not being afraid to spend an extra time in the gym, those guys have done that.
Is Ignace not here yet?
No, he won't be here. He just finished school recently, so he's back finishing or training back there. Then he'll be here when school starts. He'll be here for his orientation right before school starts.
Time for one more question.
How was Coach Scott's Princeton background? How does that kind of fit in, mesh with your basketball philosophy?
Very well, because we've run, I mean, there's so many NBA teams. I think you and I have had this conversation before, but so many NBA teams run. I mean, the Golden State Warriors, the Boston Celtics, the Philadelphia 76ers, so many teams run variations of that, just like they used to in the past with the Tex Winter, Phil Jackson triangle offense. There's all variations of it. Well, we ran quite a bit of that when I was at Indiana, and even some at Marquette, because of the cutting, the movement. It forces you to move without the ball. It forces you to move the ball quickly. It forces you to set up your cuts, make hard cuts, read defenses. And I think that's so important, because the thing, right now, I'll just say this, the biggest thing for me coming in, with the way we know we want to play, with the improvements that we've got to make, especially shooting the ball, how are we going to continue to space the floor if we're not making shots? Because I think we're going to get better shooting it. There's no question they're working at it, footwork, things of that nature. And we have certain ways that we're trying to do things, and the spacing that we play in and things of that nature, but you have to make shots for that to work. Well, we've got to continue to be a team that the quicker we understand that all five are extremely important. There's not a 20-point-a-game guy there that's sitting there right now. That doesn't mean that it won't happen. But again, there was one double-figure score on this team last year. You know, we want to get to the point where there's a balance, and I think that the balance that comes from moving so well without the ball, from the precision of the cuts, it's not a B, C, D, E offense. All right, the A, B, C, and D, and the E, they're in there, but they can be mixed up. It's all based on reads, and that's so much of the way that we play. But getting these guys to understand that not one guy, okay, or not these two guys are going to be the guys that are going to all of a sudden lead us to a better place in Georgia basketball. It's going to be the team. That doesn't mean that guys aren't going to score 20, guys aren't going to score 25. It doesn't mean guys aren't going to average big numbers. But the quicker that we understand, and this is what we're going through, because when you're in a new program and guys are getting better, it's very, very easy for them to all of a sudden think, well, they're going to be the man, right? They're going to make these plays. No, you're not. Okay, the ball is going to make these plays based on what the defense has given us. And the more that all five on the court at any given point in time have the respect level for how valuable each guy is, the better we'll be. All right, the better we'll be. And that's what we're working towards. So I think that offense helps give us a healthy dose of that every day. And like you asked how it fits great with what we're doing, with what I like. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.